This is the Build Zone podcast.
Listeners, we're in for a treat today because I've got on with us a friend of mine from way back in the day. For those listeners that don't know, I was in the Marine Corps from 1999 to 2003, and we are joined today by a Marine friend of mine. His name's John Caruso, coming from the great state of New Jersey. Unfortunately, he is an Eagles fan. We'll talk about that later, but I wanted to have him come on because we got Veterans Day coming up. He's a vet. He's doing great things for veterans, and I want to talk a little bit about his podcast and the great stuff he's doing down there. John, welcome to the podcast.
How are you, sir? Good to see you.
I'm glad you made it on here today. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what all in the work that you do? I know that you're doing some great stuff down there.
Yeah, so I was also in the Marine Corps from 2000 to 2004. I had the quote unquote privilege of of serving with Mike Maloney here. We were actually in the same office at one time. He was Maloney always was up for a good laugh. Great times we had there, obviously in the Marines. A lot of good memories. We Since then I've been in with the local 172 heavy general highway construction. I've been in with the union for 15 years. I was before that. I was non-union in construction. I was a truck driver, so I kind of got my foot in the door doing that, and now I've done a bunch of different work over the years. Now I'm currently doing asphalt. I'm following gas crews around patching the roads as they hook up the gas. I've done paving, major highways. I've done water, sewer, concrete. You name it, I've probably had my hands in it in one time or another.
I'm sure it's the same way down there, but everyone up here can't find good people, right? Everyone's looking for good people, can't hire
Yeah.
good people, can't find good people. Where are the good people? One of the things that we've tried to talk about here a few times on the podcast is trying to hire veterans. And
Okay.
there's so many veterans that are coming back from, whether it be in the war, active duty, 20 years, 4 years, didn't matter. I mean, I didn't do 20 years, you didn't do 20 years.
Right.
And we still learned some great skills in the Marine Corps, whether you're a grunt or you're in the office.
Mhm.
There's lots of different jobs. I started out as a different job and ended up, just because I was right place, wrong time, wrong place, right time, I guess. Someone told
Right.
somebody I knew how to use a computer, and then that was it. Go across the street, and now
Right.
I'm in the office, right? And everything happens for a reason. I was able to get over there and do a lot of great stuff. I was able to move up pretty quick. Being in the offices was fantastic because I met a lot of great people like yourself, like the guys, whether it be the Master Guns Casey, Master Sergeant Bryant, and the people in the S shops were amazing. Why do you think it's so hard for veterans to come out of the military and try to get a job in the civilian world?
So what I found when we got out is there was a program called Helmets to Hard Hats
Mm.
This was a program that had just started when we were getting out. It's not something that we knew. When we go to check out and they, try to civilianize you,
Right.
um, there was a couple things they brought up. It was like, hey, Home Depot hires veterans, Lowe's hires veterans, Cisco, the hires veterans. I'm like, okay, but that's not necessarily the route I wanted to go.
Right.
Um, so I want to say it's probably lack of information, people coming out and finding good work. Now, having said that, my son just recently went through boot camp. He's currently an MCT. His job is going to be aviation electrical technician. So they had already told him that you could do 4 years and come out and go get a job at Lockheed Martin, Boeing, NASA, which is all where he lives down there near the Maryland, Virginia area. They had them down there, and they said he could walk in and make 6 figures. Nobody told me that. Like it
Right.
was, nobody really pushed trades when we were in school either. They always pushed, college, college, college. Now it's take up a trade, use your hands. The problem is, like you had said, is there's a whole new generation out there. This is a whole new world. This is not 2000, this is not even 2010.
Right.
Um, it's a very much different world. I think a lot of these younger kids want everything right now and don't
Mhm.
realize that you got to earn your stripes and takes your bumps and bruises to get up to get your money. I mean, when I first started out in construction, I was a basic laborer. I moved up pretty quickly, and out of the 15 years of being in the union, I was in some type of supervisor job, probably 10 to 12 of them. I've been anything from a superintendent to a project manager to a basic laborer. And
But
I'm back to being a basic laborer now. And I got to be honest, I love it because I love just going home with no responsibilities.
do you think that they chose you to be in that supervisor role because of the skills you learned in the Marine Corps?
I think it's noticed. I
Yeah.
think when we have a tendency to be assertive,
Hmm.
take charge type thing, natural lead that comes with natural leadership skills. No matter what in the Marines, you learn, even if you don't become a good leader, you're learning from your leaders how to lead. So yes, I firmly believe that. I'm also very set in the ways of still with the military where this is it and that's it. This is what they want done. That's it. And
Yep.
not well, there was no questioning, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's so when it came to that, military life was pretty easy, because the military lays it all out for you.
Yep.
Don't do this, and that's it. So,
Some people have a hard time, Mr. Caruso, with some of the rules that get laid down in the
are,
military. Would
are
you say that's
you?
true with some people?
I might have. I might have had a few rule breaking moments.
Ah,
But they do. A lot of people. But listen, you're gonna find out real quick when you go to boot camp if you're meant to get yelled at or not. So
that's right.
yeah.
And then I think that the military, the life, right, whether it be 4 years or 20 years, does things to a person, like you said, makes you more assertive, makes you
Hmm.
more confident, right? There's not a lot. I mean, there are jobs in the military, Army, Navy, it doesn't matter where you go and you use your hands. Not every job. Some people are officers, but some people are, oh, I shot a missile off my shoulder. Where do I take that skill once you get out of the military? I could be a terrorist, right? I could go
Right.
be the bad guy someplace,
Or
but
you could everything leading up to shooting that missile
yep,
is what that's the old the term we've heard this a million times, you and I. Hurry up and wait. Hurry
yeah,
up and wait. That's the military life.
yeah,
Well, it took me many years to figure out why that actually made sense. And what it is we were never late to anything,
right.
right? We were there, we were never late. So that was the reason for the hurry up and wait mentality because they knew that when it was time to go, everybody's there, everybody's ready. So I mean that's one of the biggest things I took out of it. Now again, it's like you said, it's not for everybody. I have always preached, and I preach it now, that the military is a cheat code for life. You can do you can go anywhere. You can go anywhere and get the same thing that you get in the Marine Corps. You can get an education, you can get learning, you can get this, you can get that. But only irrational people join the Marine Corps. That's a direct quote. Listen, that's a direct quote from the current Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps. That only irrational people, because again, you can go anywhere and get a degree,
Yeah.
job, like, job skills, all that stuff in another branch of service. But we chose the hard way. We chose the difficult way. And I think
What's the
in
matter
the
with us?
long run, that speaks volumes for what we learned. I mean, listen, were we jokesters? Did we prank around? Do we still? Of course we do. But I feel like there is a difference between the branches of the service. You know this, and I know this, and I
Yeah.
don't down any branches of service. I think if you served or signed a document, you're probably, in my opinion, you're better than the average man.
Yeah.
But you got to, um, it's a direction, and especially the Marines, it's not a rational decision. It's an irrational decision, and we chose to go that direction. It was a tough route, but I wouldn't give it up for the world. I wouldn't take it back at all. I
No.
don't regret a single second of it.
So a question for you, and I don't think I know the story. Why did you choose the Marine Corps? Why was that your decision?
So I was at 19 at the time, and I was going nowhere quick. I was living at home. Me and my mom were butting heads, and because of me, I know it was. And all of a sudden, I seen this. I was sitting there, I was going through a moment, and this commercial comes on, and it's the one where climbs the mountain, slays the dragon,
Yeah.
and the whirlwind, and all of a sudden he's in dress blues. I haven't seen that commercial since.
Yeah.
I saw it that day, and I said, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be a Marine. And I called the recruiting office, and then I told my mother, and my mother was like beside herself. She's like, "You're doing what?" I'm like, "Mom, I got to do something." And, from the moment I said I was going to sign, I was overweight. Everybody said I wasn't going to make it. That
Yeah.
was fuel for fire, man.
Yeah.
I learned how to use that.
Yep.
And, here I am. I still rock the high and tight. I'm still wearing a 3rd Battalion shirt. The boot camp I was, the battalion I was in, I loved everything about it. I talked to you. This has been 20 something years,
Yeah.
like, since you've been out. And I got, Mikey Dunn, Ray, Dave.
Yep.
We're on a text thread every single day of our
Yep.
lives. So the
Yep.
camaraderie, it's amazing. And that's another reason why I joined. It's a big reason my son joined. He's seen how I interact with other Marines. Even just out in public, you see a Marine, hey, Semper Fi. Next thing you
Yep.
know, the old timers telling you Vietnam and
Yep.
stories, and they love it. That's all they want. They just want to talk.
And
And
that's, I mean, I think that's true for a lot of people, right? Same
sure.
thing. My Marine Corps story is, same thing, wasn't going anywhere. I had my apartment. I had a good paying job working for the commuter railroad here in Boston. My life was going nowhere. I had a crappy apartment. I was 25 years old. I wasn't some 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old, young kid living at home with his mom. I had my own place, had my own thing going on. I said the same thing. I got nothing going on. I got to do something with my life here. I'm afraid I'm going to be 50 years old like I am now and say, what have I done with my life? I've done nothing exciting. And that was it. Drove up to the recruiting office, went to wait in line for the Air Force originally. That's where we're supposed to go, the Air Force.
Mhm.
Marine Corps devil dog recruiter this starts chirping at me, gets me to come in. I say, when can I leave? 30 days later, I was gone. Sign the papers and gone. So
Wow.
it's a crazy, same thing. I was overweight. People said you'll never make it. They're like, the Marines, you're never going to make it. No way. Are you crazy? You'll be back in a couple of weeks. That was, like you said, fuel for the fire. Right.
Mhm.
And that was just, I want to be able to say I could do it after 4 years. Now, when I was ready to get out, it was time to get out. I had a family by then. I was married. I wasn't single
Yeah.
anymore. Life had changed for me a little bit. But I wouldn't trade it for a second. I learned so much about leadership, so much about dedication, the passion, like I said, there's no BS. There's the
Right.
job, get it done. There's the
Yep.
mountain, take that hill.
When we went to the base, you'll love this story. It's a real quick one. So we're going to the base. It's family day. There's hundreds of people coming in. So they're trying to direct cars, and the MP's waving this car on, waving it up, waving it up, waving it up again. They're not paying attention. He's like, "Here, I need you here." So they pull up, and the wife pulls down the window and says, "We're from California." And again, the MP looks at him and says, "I don't give a shit where you're from. Move up." And I lowered my window. I was like, "Yes, thank you." Because that's the way we knew things. When you got on base, when you're on, it brought back, Mike, the juices, the flow.
Yeah.
Man, when they're chanting, they're screaming, the drill instructors, you hear them, you see them in the distance, and they're getting after them, or they're marching and they're doing the cadence. My man, I get chills right now just thinking about it. It brought back good and bad memories. Because listen, not all the memories we have were great ones.
Correct.
But it brought back I mean, the juices start flowing, and I'm like, yes, this is amazing. And I went completely into Marine Corps mode. I was in Marine mode again, watching my wife, watching my mother, making sure nobody was like, making sure they were okay, watching all the like I was back in Marine mode. It was one of the best feelings I had. I was
Yeah.
like I felt alive again. And that's
It,
that's the truth.
well, and the fact you saw he said it earlier, but your son graduated boot camp, right? So not only have we been friends for 20 something years, but your son, who I remember you talking about as a little baby, is now
Yeah.
old enough to finish high school and join the Marine Corps, which
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think is just that.
It's to
What
me,
a
and honestly, I wanted him to go Air Force. I wanted him to go be an officer. He was in JROTC. The kid had a 3.9 grade point average. I was like, gee, go be. His name's Giovanni. I'm like, go be an officer in the Marine. No, I want to go in the Marines, and I want to go enlisted first, and then maybe I'll go MSAT or warrant officer. I'm
yeah,
like, all right,
hey,
if that's what you. I'm like, hey, if that's what you want to do, then okay. And then we sat down and talked. I told him what it was going to be like. Nothing ever prepares you for boot camp.
yeah,
Um, but he's doing it. He's in it, and he's going to be okay. I'm not sure the Marine Corps is ready for another Caruso,
yeah. I
but
don't know about that either.
I already told him if somebody sees your name tag and rolls their eyes, that
Yeah,
means they probably met Dad one
yeah,
time.
that's wild. So we talked briefly before. Quick memory. What's a good memory you got of me? And then remember PG-13 it a little bit. You gotta,
Yes, I will keep it clean
yeah,
because my podcast is actually a little more risque.
yeah.
But so we're in the office. My staff sergeant had said a little bit of a remark that I didn't care for. I said one back to him, which was not a very smart idea. And at the time, he was very sternly telling me never do it again. And as I was doing that, you're on the other side of the desk. It was one of the high desks, almost like a cubicle.
Yeah.
And all I hear is, hey, hey, Caruso, what are you doing? And
Yeah.
it took everything in me to try to maintain a serious face as my staff sergeant telling me to give me the riot act.
Did he hear me say it? Did he hear me do it? He must have.
He had
He
to.
had to.
There's no way. Even
Yeah.
Lucas had his head down. The other, which at the time, the Lance Corporal Lucas, one of the other guys in the office, I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. And I remember that day too. I don't remember him chewing you out. I don't remember him talking like that. I have no idea because I was in the side. I wasn't paying attention. I was probably,
Yeah,
but I was always joking around. That's kind of like why I'm here too. You gotta have fun, gotta be joking around.
yeah,
I remember one of the things I remember about Crusoe was the staff sergeant that was in charge of the office, and sometimes civilians have a hard time understanding it, but there was usually a high-ranking person in the office who was in charge of us all. This gentleman was named Staff Sergeant Evans. He was a big physical training type of guy,
yeah.
and he used to always take us out to the pull-up bars, and pull-ups weren't my thing. They
Another
just weren't
great memory.
they weren't my jam.
No,
And he liked to always talk about how great he was at certain things, and he would
right.
always say, and this stuff sticks out in my mind. I talk about all the time. Hey, Malone, do you know why I'm so good at pull-ups? And what did I say, Crusoe?
You rolled your eyes wet because you do them all the time, Staff Sergeant.
Every day. Yeah, yeah. I got in trouble
And
for that too.
you listen, that was the one that you need. The Marine Corps needed guys like you. You needed a guy that just didn't take like you didn't take everything seriously. Like there were times you were serious if you had to be, but for most part, you were the guy that just listen, it's not that serious. Let's just do what we gotta do.
Just
And you
yeah.
kept things upbeat. And you need guys. Like I'm sorry. That you played an intricate part in my time serving with that unit because everybody did. It was because it kept the day going. It like you looked forward to nobody looks forward to going to work. I did.
We did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed working on the S1 with you guys, and then moving over to the S3 was different because I got to work with the scary Master Gunnery Sergeant who
Yes.
no one wanted to work for, and it was a blast. Him and Master Bryant were,
But if he liked you, if he
yeah,
liked you, he liked you. And if he
yep,
didn't, he didn't. But if he did like you, he would take care. He'd break your chops,
yep.
but he didn't. But he did would take care of you.
The fact that he was a Yankees fan was great because I was a diehard Red Sox fan and still am. So he rode me all the time, and they found I got an 03, so they went an 04. So
Mhm.
that's crazy. What about we'll talk about some Eagles stuff. What do you think about the Eagles this year?
Well, it looks like they're finally waking up to me. I mean, listen, everything's nice on paper. but you got to play the games. You don't know. That's why I hate the beginning of the year where people try to predict, schedules and the wins and losses, injuries and everything. The teams you think are going to do good end up falling off, and the teams that look at the Washington Redskins, no one thought the Rock, and they actually look like they're the real deal.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, Eagles look like they're trying to pick it up. I think it was a learning curve with the new coordinators. Jalen Hurts looks like he's finally coming around. He hasn't turned the ball over in 3 games. Um, the running back Saquon Barkley is an animal, a
Beast.
complete animal, and
Yep.
they ran all over the Giants. I can't believe that GM and hey, that GM's even still employed right now
Yeah.
because the owner had said right out of his mouth, "I'm going to lose sleep if he goes to the Eagles." Well, that man ain't sleeping.
Yeah. And I didn't realize I may have forgot, but he's a Philadelphia guy anyways, Saquon,
Yeah,
right? And
Penn
went to
State.
Penn State. I didn't know that. So he gets to go home, I guess, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Another thing we'll talk about quickly is you have your own podcast. Go ahead and plug that podcast. Go for
Yeah,
it.
so we do Two and a Blue. It's called Two and a Blue podcast. We are construction based as well, union and non-union. We have roughly almost 17,000 followers on Facebook. Um, we're up to almost episode 20. We do one episode a week and usually one interview a week. I will tell you, if anybody wants to watch, please tune in, like, and follow. But it is a more mature audience. I do curse a little bit on there, a lot of it actually. But it's a very open forum, and it's based upon construction. And then we talk about what we would talk about out in the field, which is basically anything to
Yep.
pass the time, sports, anything, stuff like that. Just instances and road work stuff.
Love it. So check it out. Two and a Blue, the podcast. You can find it on Spotify. Where else can you find it?
Spotify, Apple, Facebook is our main platform. We're on all of them though. With YouTube, we're everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, but our main platform is Facebook.
Awesome. Hopefully every listen will give it a shot. Okay, now jumps into my favorite part of the podcast is the lightning round. We insert some lightning sound effects, like thunder and lightning. And the first question I'm going to ask you is, who was your childhood actor or actress crush? Young John Caruso.
Actress crush. Three's Company, Cindy.
Ooh, little Suzanne Summers.
Yes.
All right, good for you. That's a good one. Let's see. If you were a wrestler, what would your entrance theme song be?
If I was what?
A wrestler, what would your entrance theme song be?
Oh, I've thought about this too before. I like Down with the Sickness by Disturbed.
It's a good one. Yep. All right. If let's see here. If you had your very own late night talk show, who would you invite as your very first guest?
Mike Maloney.
Whoa, bonus points. If a movie was made of your life, what would the genre be, and who would play you?
Oh my God, John Candy probably would have played me if he was still alive. And I get that a lot. Yeah, John Candy and the John. I mean, you're looking at like a type of like Animal House type movie.
What is your favorite sandwich and why?
Cheesesteak. I'm a big cheesesteak guy, and I used to own a cheesesteak trailer. So,
What is your favorite TV show?
um, shit. Oh, sorry. All right, I'm gonna go a little off here because this is what we're currently watching.
Uh-oh.
High Potential.
What is that?
So it's Always Sunny. You ever see the episode Always Sunny in Philadelphia? The female that's in that, she is the main character in this, and she has some type of like telepath, like she can go in a room and see things and process it. So the LAPD actually hires her to
Oh,
help solve murder cases.
all right,
And
all right.
yeah, and
High
the other one
Potential.
would be the Golden Bachelorette, but don't get on me for that one.
You watch that with the missus. We'll put that in there.
I watch them all with the missus pretty
Yeah.
much.
Favorite game to play as a child?
Hide and seek.
Are you a morning person or a night person?
Morning.
Weirdest food you've ever eaten?
The any internals of a animal like the heart or liver or and a pig, it's called a sweetbread. It's a gland.
If you could choose any two famous people to have dinner with, who would they be?
Tom Hanks. Ooh, and I'm just gonna go Morgan Freeman.
I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask anyway, so I got it on record. Sauce or gravy?
Oh,
Careful now. Careful.
all right.
I know the answer to this one already, but
It's Sugo. It's sauce.
All right.
I do call. I know. I am a
Wait a
gravy
minute.
guy. I get it.
Wait
And
a
I
minute.
was raised
All
gravy.
right, great. All right.
However, it is sauce. It's sugo.
All right. All right. And then there's a food fight at the Caruso house tonight. What is your weapon of choice? You cannot say mashed potatoes.
Oh, I just took them out of the oven. Shake and bake pork chop.
Oh, you're not chucking that at the missus, are you?
You never know.
All right. That's our friend John Caruso. Appreciate you so much, but I love you so much. Appreciate your friendship all these years. Don't really get off when I say goodbye, but thanks for being on. Remember the Two in a Blue podcast. Check it out today. Thanks, John. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, buddy. Good seeing you again.
Hey, everyone. Mike from the future just got back from the craft championship. I'm letting you know that it was a fantastic time. The food was great. Competition was great. Congratulations to all the winners. Special thanks to all our sponsors that helped us out with the craft championship. It's important that you go and you like, tag, share, and follow this podcast. Smash that subscribe button on YouTube. Go on Instagram, the Build Zone Podcast. And please like, tag, share, and comment on this post on LinkedIn. Appreciate it. We'll see you in the future.